Hi guys, today we are going to learn about upper and lower bounds. If a number or measurement has been rounded, it can be important to consider what possible values the exact value could have been. For example, if a kitchen unit has 600 millimeter wide to the nearest 10 millimeter, it could be actually be another width from 595 millimeter up to 605 millimeter. So it might not fit into the gap that is exactly 600 millimeter wide. To describe all the possible values that a rounded number could be, we have a lower and upper bounds. The lower bound is the smallest value that would be round up to the estimated value. The upper bound is the smallest value that would round up to the next estimated value. For this example, a length of 32 centimeter rounded up to the nearest centimeter as the lower bound is 31.5 because 31.5 is the smallest length that rounds to the nearest to 32 centimeter. In the other case, if upper bound is 32.5 centimeter, because 32.5 is the smallest length that could round up to 32 centimeter. This is a similar example as previous one. The lower and upper bounds of these measurements are 127 centimeter. We are going to do it with the correct one decimal place. The length that appear before 127.3 to the one decimal place is 107.2. And in order for you to calculate the lower bound, we are advised to calculate the middle value of 127.2 with 127.3, so that the lower bound which is before that appear is 127.25 centimeter. The same calculation we're going to apply for the upper bound as well. So if let's say we are going to calculate the middle value, so the number that appears after 127.3, which is 127.4, so the middle value will be 127.35. So we can conclude that the lower bound is 127.25 centimeter and the upper bound is 127.35 centimeter. In this example, the width of the rectangle is 5 meter and the length is 4 meter, both to the nearest meter. Write down the upper bound for the area. To find the upper bound of an addition or an area, you want to multiply the upper bound to both measurements, as this could be the largest possible sum or area. Whereas to get the lower bound of an addition or multiplication, such as area, you would multiply the lower bound of both measurements. So in this example, the length given for a rectangle is 4 meter and 5 meter. In order to calculate the lower bound, the length between 4 meter and 5 meter, which is 4.5. And the upper bound of the length occurs between 5 meter and 6 meter is 5.5. So for you to calculate the area for upper bound, we will be using 4.5 meter, multiply it with 5.5, which is given us the answer 24.75 meters square. This example, same as rectangle area that we calculated in our previous example. The length of a rectangle is 22 centimeter to the nearest centimeter. The width of the rectangle is 40 centimeter to the nearest centimeter. What is the upper bound for the area of the rectangle? So if the question asking us to calculate nearest centimeter, then the numbers appears before 22 centimeter will be 21 and after will be 23 centimeter. So the lower bound will be 21.5 and the upper bound will be 22.5 for the length. So we are going to apply the same concept for the calculating the width as well. So the lower bound for the width will be 39.5 and the upper bound will be 40.5. In order for you to calculate the area, so we are going to pick the right lower bound and the upper bound. So we will be taking both upper bound for the length and the width. So the area will be 22.5, which is the upper bound length, and 40.5, which is the upper bound for width. So the answer will be 911.25. The width of the field is 32 centimeter to two significant figures. The length of the field is 180 meter to two significant figures. What is the lower bound for the perimeter of the field? To find the lower bound of the perimeter of the rectangle, calculate using the lower bound of its length and width. Therefore, the upper bound and lower bound of the perimeter of the rectangle for length are 175 and 185, and the upper bound and the lower bound of the perimeter of the width are 31.5 and 32.5. Since the question asking us to calculate the lower bound of perimeter, so we will be adding the lower bound of the length and width. So which is 175 and 31.5. In this example, a lift can hold 2700 kg to two significant figures. It is being used to lift people with an average weight of 80 kg to the nearest 5 kg. So what is the maximum amount of people if the lift can hold? So we will be dividing this into two categories, which is weight lift and the weight person. So the lower bound of weight lift is 2650 since it's two significant figures, and the upper bound is 2750 kg. So same method we will apply for the weight person. So the lower bound is 77.5, and since it says to the nearest to 5 kg, and the upper bound is 82.5. In order to calculate the maximum amount of people, so we need to choose one value from lower bound and upper bound. Since it's involved division, so we will be taking maximum lift divide with the minimum person. So it means that the upper bound of maximum person, we will be dividing it with the lower bound of the minimum person. So we will be taking 2750 divide with the lower bound of the minimum weight person, which is 77.5. So it's equals to 35.48. So we can consider as 35 people.